effectively. But it's also about being active in your learning. So what does that mean? It means that when you come across an idea, a certain finding, an argument, well, if you deploy critical thinking, you always do so with skepticism and doubt, rather than with unquestioning acceptance. So what you are doing really is you are questioning whether the ideas, the arguments, or the findings you are coming across are the whole picture, or whether there is more to it. And you remain open to find out what there is more to that. So in essence, you are identifying, analyzing, and where possible, solving problems systematically. So, yes, we can say that critical thinking encompasses, in a very broad term, at least 6 vital life skills, which are problem solving, analysis, creative thinking, interpretation, evaluation, and reasoning. Now, this is a very general definition. Let it rest for a bit in your mind. Let's move on and try to follow the flow. So, from this definition, we look at what are the characteristics, the most salient characteristics of critical thinkers, of good critical thinkers. Now, surely, good critical thinkers, because they are able to assess things from a variety of different perspectives, but they are honest with themselves, and therefore they're also able to resist manipulation, be it internal or external. They also can overcome confusion, and are in a position to ask questions and challenge ideas in a much more poignant way than those who aren't critical thinkers. Another characteristics of critical thinkers is that they can judge things based on evidence. Evidence can be either theoretical or empirical, right? They are also prone to look for connections between different subjects and different fields, and that means that they are intellectually independent. So they are inquisitive, curious, and they look for gaps. So probably the most important characteristic of critical thinkers and good critical thinkers is their ability to spot biases, distorted view, prejudice, and self-interest in their work, most importantly, but also in the work of others. So you see, these are all good characteristics, and it's cool to be a critical thinker, so you students, you should be a critical thinker. Okay, so having highlighted some of these characteristics, we can now reflect on how to improve our critical skills. And here things get a little bit more complicated. So, well, let's start by saying that critical thinking is a metacognitive skill. So, what does this mean? Well, it essentially means that it's a skill that involves thinking about thinking. So, in studying critical thinking, we have to be aware of the principles of reasoning, but also be reflective of our own reasoning. We also have to make a conscious effort, and this is very difficult to do for everyone, including myself, to improve ourselves, avoid biases, and maintain objectivity. Sure, you can say we are all able to think, but thinking well, thinking critically, it surely requires a lot of time. It's not something that you pick up in a 2-week module at university. It's more like a life journey. It needs a lot of practice. Which brings us to the next point. What are the crucial components underlying critical thinking? Well, there are at least 3 main components of critical thinking, and these are theory, practice, and attitude. Next, I'm going to say a little bit about each of these, starting with theory. Of course, if we want to be critical thinkers, if we want to develop critical thinking skills, well, we need to know the correct rules of reasoning, so we need to know the basic principles of critical thinking, such as the law of logic, and the methods of scientific reasoning. But we also need to know what are the common mistakes that people do when trying to think critically. So we need to have at least some basic knowledge of the most common mistakes that people do when trying to think critically. And this involves knowledge of the logical fallacy, the standard logical fallacies. Here's a nice table. It's not comprehensive in any way, but I think it points out some of the most important logical fallacies that, if not all students, at least a lot of people out of who know by the end of this talk. I would recommend, at least if you are philosophers, to know at least what is a straw man, what is a slippery slope, appeal to nature, appeal to authority, and appeal to emotion, which are mostly used in politics and in the media. So it's always good to know that. Okay, so this is more or less the very general overview about the theory. However, like every other thing, merely knowing the principle that distinguish good and bad reasoning is not enough. So imagine, just this metaphor. We can know how to learn how to swim, we can learn it in the classroom, but sure, we can learn that we shouldn't breathe underwater, but unless we practice this in real life persistently, we will never be able to swim. So, to be good at critical thinking skills certainly requires knowledge of the principle of critical thinking, but also a lot of practice. And the best practice is to do a lot of good quality exercises, which involves tutorials in the classroom, yes, but also, and most importantly, having critical discussions with your friends, with your peers, with your parents. I'm sure there's no need for that to stress this, you know, probably followed already, but that's a good thing to do. So you have to develop this throughout your lifetime. Everyone else, even your teachers. So yes, theory and practice are crucial, but even putting theory and practice, well, it's probably not enough, because just practice, persistent practice without a conscious effort, the right kind of motivation or the right attitude will not bring any substantial improvement. So if you find yourself having one of these, behaving in one of these ways, so for instance, if you like to be fed answers rather than finding answers yourself, if you don't like to be criticized, I know no one likes to be criticized, but you know, it's something that sometimes you have to accept. If you, usually review if you don't usually review the mistakes you have done, you know that you are precluding yourself access to critical thinking. So you should try to avoid this kind of behaviors when trying to develop critical thinking skills. Okay, so that's a little bit of background to start with.